Hello everybody, my name is Veronica and welcome to my YouTube channel. Here we are playing The Sims 4 and today we have another speed build. And actually this house was not planned as a speed build at first. I wanted it to make a regular speed build, like not sped up, like normal building speed. And I did that at first, but then my game crashed, so nothing was saved except for my recordings, and I didn't have enough strength to rebuild the house again the same day. So it's actually my second try building this house, and you might notice that it's visible that I know what I want to do with it because I didn't struggle at all with the floor plan this time. I did it first because I didn't know how to place everything so that this house has a proper kitchen area, some living space, and a proper bedroom. And actually, I think on the second try, this house ended up being better than it was at first. And this house is already on my gallery, and this house uses only Eco Lifestyle expansion pack and Get Together expansion pack. And also it uses one free tiny pack that Holiday, I think it is, but it's free, so I might as well say that it uses only two packs. And I try to play with platforms in this house a little bit, so you can see that there are flat roofs which are going to be covered in greenery. I just wanted to make it like some kind of oasis in the middle of this. I wanted to make it some kind of oasis in the middle of the desert. And I think I managed quite well. I did put some cacti around the house with some rocks, so it's kind of, I don't know, maybe in my opinion, I managed to blend it in the area from the outside, and all the greenery is in flower beds which I made for that. At first thought about adding a couple of staircases of ladders on the rooftop, but then I thought that one is going to be enough because I'm going to make only one usable rooftop. But if you want to, you can delete one of the half walls and put a staircase down on the second rooftop. So you can make another huge patio on the rooftop of the house. And this house also has a nice, cute patio in the back of the house. And I just think this house is going to be nice if you maybe played Sims 4 for maybe a couple of generations, so your Sims have money, and maybe your young adults are going to move out from their parents and they're going to move into this house. Like, I want to live in a desert where the weather is almost always nice. It's actually always hot out here. And just why don't I live in a modern house? And it actually could fit in a tiny household. I have tiny living, so I try to make it, but all the platforms on the rooftop didn't let me do that. And if you want to make it a tiny house, you can sacrifice these platforms on the rooftop and make change a roof up there so that it will be a tiny house. And as you see, I did use some platforms on the rooftop, and this actually gave me some, I don't want to say problems, but maybe it's problems. I couldn't place windows so that they would look okay from the outside of the house because they looked like they're end too low. And actually, in the end, I think I managed to do that. I did delete this part because actually this recording didn't even have that part. I had that problem when I tried to record it first when my game crashed, but this time I knew what I'm doing, so I used this little trick with these tiny base game windows. They have quite wide frames, so I managed to place them on top of Eco Lifestyle windows and hide some clipping with the wall, but I didn't manage to hide it all. But you can adjust the windows the way you like. I was a bit tired to do that by the time I did record it. and I try to put a couple of eco lifestyle appliances, not appliances, like eco lifestyle things on the rooftop, like solar panels and wind turbine and these dew collectors, so that this house, I believe, it actually can be quite sustainable. So that, and I placed dew collectors in accessible area for your sim because I noticed that they are placed actually usually in the open area. And if you have seasons and you have a thunderstorm, lightning struck into them a lot, and you need to have access to them to fix them. So I placed them on a rooftop which has a ladder up to it. And as you see, I'm placing some bushes on the top of the house, and I did struggle actually a lot with making it looking okay, not insanely a lot, because I just try to put some flowers out there, some bigger bushes and stuff like that. And I actually still think that maybe these light green, like yellowy green bushes look a bit too much because they just a bit too tall, but I actually try to place them there so that I can cover dew collectors from the front of the house. And so that you will not look directly at them because they stick up there. So I think I managed quite well, and in the end, it looks pretty nice. And I thought about making some kind of lounge area on the top of the house, but then I thought that maybe it's a really good spot for a little garden. So that you have dew collectors, here is all the water for watering your plants, and where are your plants going to have more light than on the roof? Where? I think nowhere. So in the end, I just placed planter pots up there. And as you see, I tried to make something funny with lightning. So this house actually, in my opinion, it looks really pretty in the night because you have all these outside lightnings out here. And I believe that it looks, I don't know, like a really modern house. And I believe it's really pretty. So we have all these spots of lights in almost every bush on a rooftop and every bush on a flower bed. And we have these lights, I don't know, like these wall lights lighting the wall itself, mostly not anything on the ground. And I think it looks pretty too. It's maybe a bit of charm for this house, so this house doesn't look that generic. I've actually spent a lot of time doing that. I usually don't like placing a lot of outside lighting. These lights that are in the ground, they are meant to be either by solar power, yeah, like there is a battery which uses power generated by a tiny little solar panel installed in the light, or there are cables in the ground, and I don't like cables in the ground. In this case, I prefer thinking that it is a solar kind of battery in these lights. So it's, I don't know, I believe it's kind of appropriate for a desert house. So I use it here. I usually don't like it, but I did it here. And I've been struggling a lot again with avoiding a lot of clipping with all these bushes sized up or down because they tend to clip in the walls. If you place some kind of bush right to the wall, and if it takes like one tile, and you place and this the tile you place this bush is right next to the wall, you're probably going to see that bush from the other side of the wall too. I hate it in The Sims 4 because why don't you make like the tile thing, the green tile that shows up, like, shows how much area this bush is going to take. Why don't you make it the whole size of the bush? Um, Set a clipping like not exactly by the tile size. which is like acceptable clipping without move object sheet. Like no, we would make it look like it takes one tile by that green square that is around an object when you place it. But it's actually going to take like 4 tiles. I actually hate it too with some of their indoor plants. Just it's really inconvenient because you cannot always estimate how much area this plant is going to take. Um, if you're wrong, it's going to look bad if you don't check it up on all the sides. So it usually takes quite a lot of time, and I hate it. I did some coloring of landscaping. For landscaping, I did some, I forgot how it's called, terrain tools and paint. I used to paint some terrains. I did paint some terrains in this house. Um, I didn't do much because it's in a desert, so like things like cacti, they live quite well in the sand, and most of the house is not directly on the ground, so I just didn't do much here because it wouldn't make much difference. And as you see, I'm going right into furnishing the house now. And I really wanted to make here a nice modern looking kitchen, but like I wanted to make it industrial looking. So kitchen is the darkest spot in the house because we have black fridge, we are going to have here black stove, black dishwasher, and we have these wooden and dark looking metal counters in this house. And this kitchen doesn't have a sink because I thought that this trash can cheaty one, I placed it again, is and a dishwasher are going to be enough. If your Sims really need to use sink, they can go to the bathroom. So I think it's not that much of a deal, that big of a deal. And at first, I didn't want to place upper counters all around the kitchen, but in the end, I just gave up and did that. And I did place a tiny little dining spot in here, and I actually thought that maybe in this house, this indoors dining spot is going to fit 2 people, so that it's for people who live here. And you will see this house actually has only one bed, so it's not meant to fit a lot of people. And then I also placed another outdoor dining table outside in the back of the house, and that dining table would fit 4 people, and I just thought it's for the guests. In case your Sims are going to invite some guests, they can't have more than 4 apparently, so they won't be able to eat all together. And actually, I was exploring a lot in this build because I just bought a pack, so I was really interested to know what's in there. So I'm using a lot of curtains, beds, couches, and I had to go to debug because I know that this pack, most of the best things in this pack are actually from debug. And as you might have noticed, I did put that closet, like perfect size closet from Get Together pack. I just believed that it looked like really nice for me. Like I just think that it looks kind of realistic too, that your Sims have some storage area in the house. So I did place this closet just, and I did like how it takes all this wall area in the hall, because I usually don't like when halls have these empty walls, and I tend to place their pictures or some other stuff, or doors like here. So this hallway in this house is mostly doors, a cabinet, and closet, I mean, and couple and one closet rack, like in case it's bad weather outside, so you can place your raincoat out there. And it has a mirror, like mostly serving a decorative purpose. And as I don't have clutter packs, I didn't put much clutter in this house, and I didn't really want to. So mostly it's some eco-life style flowers or nothing. And I just didn't bother a lot. And if you have clutter packs, you can actually download this house. And in this house, I placed uh, some kind of shelf by the TV. And also, I did place a table in the hallways so that you can place there anything you want. And maybe if I had Clutterpack, maybe I would place there like a phone and keys so that it just looks realistic that you have a tiny shelf in the entryway of the house where you're going to place the keys. And I did spend some time adjusting the furniture because I just wanted it to fit so that there is no clipping with curtains, but I could have missed some spots, as always. It's all never perfect. And as you might have noticed, when I did place the windows outside, I used these windows with huge frames from Eco Lifestyle, and I just really liked how it looked when I used some flower pots which are meant to be under windows from the base game, and I did place them on top of this frame and in the bottom of the frame. So it looks like it's a built-in flower bed. I just really love how it looks. Really pretty. So this is actually, I believe that I managed to make it some kind of oasis in the middle of a desert. Desert. Wrong word happens. Okay, and I used this kind of awning awning thing from Eco Lifestyle as a shader in the back of the house so that the area where your Sims are going to use a grill or sit and eat sometimes is covered from the sun. And also we have a couple of lounge chairs, which I think actually looks really nice. And as I've been saying that the build is finished. And this is the house all finished, all done. I believe it turned out really pretty, and I actually really like the way it looks in the night. Just look how all these bushes are lit up. These flower beds I've been talking about, this couple of planting pots, some dew collectors, solar panels, this all greenery in the back of the house, and actually, if you really want to, you can get rid of it all and just have a bigger patio, or maybe you can make it some kind of a big pool, like switch it to a window and have some tiny patio up here and have a long this pretty pool. Whatever you want to do. I just didn't want to. So, and let's go inside. And from the inside of the house, I actually forgot to paint the ceilings, and I think that for this house it looks quite nice that the ceilings are all white. So the fact that I forgot it, it's not bad. So we have this entryway, which I believe turned out quite nice and pretty. A lot of doors, this storage area, this shelf you might use for some clutter if you have clutter kits. And I actually like the way this wooden panel wall looks. Yeah, I just think that it makes the wall interesting without spending too much money on some art. And here we have some office kind of area with a bookshelf. And as you see, most of this stuff are eco lifestyle and base game. And this is like that free pack I told about. And this quite boring living area, all blue and beige and white and black. And I did make this TV wall black. I just think that it looks really, I don't know, not distracting, so that when you watch TV and when you dim the light in the room, you just see only a TV and a light switch because there are no black light switches in the game. And this this is the kitchen. The tiny little kitchen with some clutter. I think that it's most cluttered part of the house. And I like how this one looks. It just looks like it's built in this counter. And this tiny boring dining area, and we have this nice patio where your sim can die, of course. Where do we go without that? And also, I just like how I made this, like it's possible to for wind to pass through, so this area is a bit shaded, not really because the roof is made of glass, but I just I just like how this house turned out, and I'm not really sure if this door is functional, and I don't want to play test all this stuff. And this is the wing clipping I've been talking about, and this is the house done. And we have a bicycle in the front of the house, and this hidden trash can, which you really don't need because you have a trash can in the house. And I just believe that it looks really nice. This is the build. And if you like this kind of videos, you can subscribe to my channel. I try to post stuff like this every other week. And this house is not actually that expensive as I thought it was, and it's just 46k. And if you like this kind of house, you can download it from my gallery. My name is Gloveran, just like my YouTube channel name. And thank you all for watching. Goodbye.